أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. We start off by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending our peace and blessings upon our master Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We start off by asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what we always ask Him for in the beginning of every class. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us with beneficial knowledge. Put his feet together. Put your feet together. If you're uncomfortable, go to a chair. Sit down good. Put your feet together on the floor. If you're uncomfortable, go to a chair and sit there. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for beneficial knowledge. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us with knowledge that changes the state of our heart and brings us closer to Him. Beneficial knowledge is that knowledge that you implement and act upon, and ultimately it becomes a source of your salvation in the hereafter. That knowledge that you implement and you act upon becomes a witness for you and not against you on the Day of Judgment. It becomes a lawyer and an intimate intercessor for you, and it does not become a prosecutor. Because anything you do in this world, we always start off by saying this, it's a good reminder because we're Muslims and we're gifted with Islamic concepts. Because anything you do in this world will either be a proof for you or against you on Yawm al-Qiyamah. And we're Muslims and we're staunch believers and strong believers in Yawm al-Qiyamah, because as Muslims we receive our belief and our aqeedah and our understanding from the Quran. And the Quran is an interesting, strong, powerful book. And the person that contemplates on the Quran, he'll realize something. He'll realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala engraves certain concepts to the Muslim. Such concepts as Yawm al-Qiyamah, concepts that we have to believe, that are cores of our belief, that change our perspective and change our way of thinking and change the way we act throughout our life. So the concept of Yawm al-Qiyamah is in almost every single surah of the Quran. It's mentioned in almost every single surah of the Quran. And the name Yawm al-Qiyamah has about 72 different names that it's referred to. The famous one that we always say is Yawm al-Qiyamah. La uqsimu bi Yawm al-Qiyamah, and Surut al-Qiyamah. Yawm al-Qiyamah, we translate it to as the Day of Judgment. This is a loose translation. We translate Yawm al-Qiyamah to the Day of Judgment. We say this is a very loose translation because Yawm al-Qiyamah actually translates to linguistically the Day of Standing. So Yawm al-Qiyamah, like we said, has many different names. From its names is Yawm al-Qiyamah, the Day of Standing. Why is it referred to as the Day of Standing? Because every single individual will be standing on that day the way that he was created, not dressed, and he will be shown everything he ever did in this world. Then his bodily limbs will testify for him or against him. His bodily limbs will testify for him or against him. His tongue will testify for him or against him. And his ears will testify for him or against him. And his eyes will testify for him or against him. And the earth he walked on will testify for him or against him. It's a very scary day. So the believer, the one who strives to do good, he strives to do good for that day. So on that day, he has many different lawyers from many different areas. And from the greatest areas is the lawyer of knowledge. The knowledge that you gained was beneficial and you propagated that knowledge and you act upon it. And we seek refuge from Allah from knowledge that is not beneficial, which is knowledge that you do not act upon, and knowledge that will ultimately be a prosecutor against you. It will speak against you. It will say he learned this and he did not implement it. The greatest knowledge someone can attain, and we say this every week because every week there's new faces. The greatest knowledge anyone can attain is knowledge of the Quran. Because anything you busy yourself with in regards to the Quran is khair and barakah. Because anything that you busy yourself with in regards to the Quran is khair and barakah. So contemplating on the meaning of the Quran, tafseer, memorizing the Quran, reading the Quran, staring at the Quran, anything to do with the Quran is khair and barakah, because the Quran is the speech of Allah and it's extremely rewarding. So we continue our weekly Quranic journey. In Ramadan here at Masjid Yunus, we have a special thing called our daily Quranic journey. In Ramadan we have something called our daily Quranic journey, because Ramadan is the month of the Quran, and Ramadan every single day it's a busy day. We have Taraweeh, we hear the Quran every day. The Muslims, the person of Iman comes to the masjid like he's dragged there because he has love for the masjid. The masjid is like a massive magnet to the hearts of the believers, which are all mini magnets. So I have a little mini magnet in my chest, and the massive magnet is the masjid. The believer's heart is connected to the masjid like a magnet. وَرَجُلٌ قَلْبُهُ مُعَلَّقٌ بِالْمَسَاجِدِ. From the 7 individuals that will be under the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the Day of Judgment, when there is no shade except for the shade of Allah, is رَجُلٌ قَلْبُهُ مُعَلَّقٌ بِالْمَسَاجِدِ. It's an individual whose heart is connected to the masjid. But the word mu'allaq, we could give an example in English is like hanging. So you know when you take a rubber band and you stretch the rubber band, your finger is mu'allaq to the rubber band, it's hanging from it. So when you snap the rubber band, it goes back like that, right? This is the individual in this hadith. This is the category of this person. His heart is connected like a rubber band to the masjid. So he walks out of the front door after dhuhr and he's walking this way to go home and he's stretching the rubber band. Then Asr comes and he goes back to the masjid. His heart is connected so strong to the masjid like a magnet. So in Ramadan we come every day to the masjid, inshallah. We have hearts that are connected to the masjid and we could be under that category. So we could earn the shade of Allah on the Day of Judgment. So we have a daily little khatira here in the masjid, speaking about that juz'a or that Quran that is being recited that day. But this is our weekly Quranic journey. Throughout the year we still want a connection with the Quran. There's nothing better to speak about than the Quran. So this is our weekly Quranic journey with Surah Yousuf alayhi salam. We left off last week speaking about the first 3 ayahs of the surah. So we finally began the surah after a 3-week introduction to Tafseer in the surah. We wanted to set up context. We wanted to speak about context and why it was revealed, and we wanted to speak about the knowledge of Tafseer, ilm al-Tafseer, and who could be a mufassir and who cannot be a mufassir. And then we spoke about why the surah was revealed and what time it was revealed, which is all very important for you to understand the depth of the surah. Then we finally began the surah last week. We spoke about the first ayah last week, and the second ayah and the third ayah last week. We said that the surah started off with, of course, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and after that, Alif Lam Ra, Tilka Ayatul Kitab al-Mubin. Alif Lam Ra, we discussed it in a lot of detail last week, speaking about the disjointed letters, the separated letters in Arabic referred to as al-Huruf al-Muqatta'a. We said that these separated or disjointed letters are an area of immense discussion amongst the scholars. We said they are an area of an immense discussion amongst the scholars. We said ultimately they can be categorized to 2 different opinions. And then under the 2 opinions branches many different opinions. We said ultimately they're branched into 2 main opinions. The first opinion being that they have no meaning, but we believe in it because it's Quran. Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he said this, and Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib, he said this, and this is Jamahir al-Muhaddithin. The first opinion that is attributed to Sayyidina Abu Bakr and Sayyidina Ali and the hadith scholars is that they don't have a meaning, but they're Quran, so we believe in them. And Sayyidina Abu Bakr has his famous statement that we said last week, that in every single divinely revealed book by Allah there's a secret, and the secret of Allah in the Quran is awa'il al-suwari or iftitah al-suwari or al-hurufu fil awa'il al-suwari. And the secret of Allah in his book, the Quran, is these huruf. So they have a secret, we don't know the meaning, but we believe in them. That was the first opinion. Then we said there was a second opinion that was much stronger. That was the majority of the Sahaba and al-Mutakallimin or Ashab al-Tafsir. The majority opinion is that these huruf al-Muqatta', these disjointed, separated letters, no, they have a meaning. Of course they have a meaning, and if they did not have a meaning, this would be abath. If they didn't have a meaning, then Allah would have put something in the Quran without a purpose, and Allah doesn't do that. So they say, no, they have a meaning, and then they differed upon what the meaning of these disjointed, separated letters are. We mentioned about 14 opinions last class, and we ended off the 14 opinions speaking about the 2 strongest opinions. So just a little bit of revision. We said that some opinion is that they're the names of Allah, some opinions is that they're names of some opinions is that they're the names of surahs, some opinions is that they are the name of Allah's greatest name scattered, but not in order. Some opinions is that it's for istitnaf al-kalam, yani ending and starting new speech. And we said that the strongest 2 opinions were that these disjointed, separated letters is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling the Arab, speaking to the Arab, ashab al-fasaha wal-balagha, the people of the greatest strength and eloquence and rhetoric, people who wrote the greatest poetry, people orally transmitted religion, strong language. Allah is speaking to them. He said, "O Arab, with the Arabic language, here are the letters of your language. Because kafa, ya, ayn, sad, ha, mim, alif, lam, ra, alif, lam, mim, ra, alif, lam, mim, qaf, noon. Here are the letters of your language. Take your letters of your language and produce something that is similar to the Quran." And we said the Quranic challenge is called the miraculous challenge of the Quran. There's many miraculous aspects to the Quran. The Quran has many miraculous aspects to it, such as the miracle of the preservation of the Quran. The Quran is preserved miraculously. From the other miraculous aspects of the Quran is this miraculous aspect of the challenge, the miraculous challenge aspect. Allah comes in 4 different ayahs challenging the Arab to bring something like the Quran. The first challenge is to bring a Quran like this, or to bring something like that of the Quran. That's the first challenge. And of course they can't do that. So the second challenge is فَأْتُوا بِعَشِرِ سُوَرٍ مُفْتَرَيَاتٍ. The second challenge is, okay, you can't bring a whole Quran like this one, bring 10 surahs like this. They can't do that. So bring 1 chapter like this, bring 1 chapter. They can't do that. فَأْتُوا بِآيَةٍ. The next challenge is bring an ayah. Forget the chapter, forget 10 chapters, forget the whole thing, bring 1 ayah. And the last one is to bring a part of an ayah or anything like the Quran. And of course the Arab were not able to do any of this. So we call this a miracle. Why is this a miracle? Because the Arabs were the king of fasaha and balagha, the kings of eloquency, and they can't bring something like the Quran. So this is a strong opinion saying these are the letters that Allah uses in the Quran to make the Quran, and the Quran is the pinnacle of any type of eloquency in Arabic. There's nothing like the Quran in the world. The individual that knows the Arabic language, whether he's a Christian, atheist, Jew, whatever he is, if he speaks the Arabic language, if he learned Arabic and he knows Arabic and he reads the Quran, you cannot say this is not from God. You cannot come with the conclusion that this is not from God. You cannot. The eloquency is unmatched and unparalleled. The Quran gives goosebumps. The descriptive nature of the Quran is like no other thing in the world. That's why the one who knows Arabic well, when he reads the Surah of Yousuf in the Arabic language, it's better than watching a Hollywood movie. The descriptive nature is unparalleled. It's better than watching a Hollywood movie. If you watch a movie, it will ruin it for you. That's how good the Quran is. The descriptive nature of the stories of the Quran, the Musa alayhi salam, Adam, it's like you're there. So we started off by talking about that, and then we talked about Kitab Mubin, and then we talked about Quran and Arabiya. We talked about the Quran being in the Arabic language, why Allah chose Arabic, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ, so that you may understand. And then we said, نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ أَحْسَنَ الْقَصَصِ بِمَا أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ وَإِن كُنْتَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ لَمِنَ الْغَافِلِينَ. We have sent down this story to you, O Muhammad, the best and greatest of all stories. We talked about the story of Yousuf being an epic story and why Allah categorizes it as the best of all stories. It comes in chronological order from the beginning to the end, and it's a very powerful, beautiful story mentioning many different aspects of many different statuses of society, mentioning slave people, free people, rich people, poor people, animals, dreams, family problems, seduction, lust, haram, devil, etc., etc. So the story of Yousuf is a very epic story, and Allah, He ends off the ayah by saying, وَإِن كُنْتَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ لَمِنَ الْغَافِلِينَ. And if it was before this revelation, O Muhammad, you were not aware of this story before this revelation, which is a sign of the Prophet or of the Prophet Muhammad. How did he come up with this story? Because if someone wants to come and say that the Prophet took from the scriptures of Musa alayhi salam and Isa alayhi salam and Dawood alayhi salam, if someone wants to come and claim that the Prophet just stole from the Torah and the Injil and the Zabur and the Suhuf, it's a dead claim, because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a shepherd from the Arabian Peninsula that was illiterate. He was ummi. So when we call the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam illiterate, this is a manqibah. This is a manqibah fi haqqihi. This is a virtue from the virtues of the Prophet. This is not a degrading thing to say. This is a virtue, because this is a sign of prophethood, because he comes with a story like this, with intimate details like this. Where could he have got that from? Of course, from Allah. So now we start with the 4th ayah today. And the 4th ayah is the commencement of the story, because the first 3 ayahs was not the story, right? The first 3 ayahs was talking about the Quran and general stuff. Now we enter the commencement of the story. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says after أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إذ قال يوسف لأبيه يا أبت إني رأيت أحد عشر كوكبا والشمس والقمر رأيتهم لي ساجدين. When Yusuf told his father, "O my father, إني رأيت أحد عشر كوكبا, indeed I have saw 11 stars, والشمس والقمر رأيتهم لي ساجدين, and the sun and the moon, I saw them as well prostrating to me." So Yusuf alayhi salam, first thing we want to talk about, as we talk about tafsir, we stop at every word. إذ قال يوسف. It's the first mention of who? It's the first mention of Yusuf alayhi salam's name right now in this story. So when Yusuf told his father, Ya abati, إذ قال يوسف لأبيه يا abati, when Yusuf told his father, "O my father." Ya abati is not Ya abi. To make a long discussion that the linguists have short, to make a long discussion short, Ya abati is a very respectful way to call on to your father. So he calls on to his father with immense respect. Observation number 1. Yousuf alayhi salam, he calls out to his dad saying, "Oh my dear father," in a beautiful, respectful manner. He's respectful. Observation number 2, the second thing we want to speak about is Yousuf. Who is Yousuf alayhi salam? Because now the mention of Yousuf came. Who is Yousuf alayhi salam? Yousuf alayhi salam is the son of Yaqub alayhi salam, the son of Ishaq alayhi salam, the son of Ibrahim al-Khalil alayhi salam. The Prophet ﷺ was asked, قال إذا قيل من الكريم فقولوا الكريم ابن الكريم ابن الكريم يوسف ابن يعقوب ابن إسحاق ابن إبراهيم عليه السلام. If it's asked who is the honorable, generous person, if it is asked who is the Kareem, respond to them saying that the Kareem is فقولوا الكريم ابن الكريم ابن الكريم. So tell them that the Kareem, the person who is Kareem, who is honorable, is the Kareem, the son of the Kareem, the son of the Kareem. And then he tells us who it is. He says, Yousuf ibn Yaqub ibn Ishaq ibn Ibrahim. Yousuf, the son of Yaqub, the son of Ishaq, the son of Ibrahim, all noble prophets, a noble lineage. So if you're to be asked about who is Kareem, it's Yousuf alayhi salam. And another beautiful hadith that we read here in the masjid about a week ago. And this hadith was the first hadith that Imam al-Nawawi brought in his chapter on Taqwa and Riyadh al-Salihin. And I found that to be very interesting. We have the chapter of Taqwa and Riyadh al-Salihin. Imam al-Nawawi, he's going to bring all the ahadith permitting to piety, permitting to God consciousness, being close to Allah. The first hadith that he brings in it is a hadith that mentions Yousuf alayhi salam. سئل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من أكرم الناس قال أتقاهم لله قالوا ليس عن هذا نسألك. The Prophet ﷺ, he was asked, who is the most akram of all people, the most generous, the most honorable of all people? And the Prophet ﷺ, he responded to the question of the companion saying, أتقاهم لله. The most kareem person, akram al-nas, is that individual who is closest to Allah or has the most taqwa of Allah. This is the correct answer. This is the answer we learned from the Quran. We learned this from Surut al-Hujurat when Allah says, إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he tells us that the greatest of you in virtue, the greatest of you in karam, which is honor, in generosity, in goodness. Karam is goodness. Karam is being good. The greatest of you in khair is إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ, is the one who has the most taqwa. Taqwa is translated to being aware of Allah the most. So if you're aware of the law of the most, you pray the most and you fast the most and you have a connection with Allah and you fear Allah the most. Our gauge and our threshold as Muslims, people of Iman, to give someone status or to say someone has good status is through Iman and Taqwa. Not through Palestine, not through Djibouti, not through Somalia, not through Sudan, not through Syria, not through Ethiopia, not through Indonesia, not through Bangladesh, not through Pakistan. Nationalism doesn't mean anything to the Muslim. Nationalism, al-iftikharu bil-nasab, being happy with your lineage or your nation that you're from, doesn't mean anything Islamically. What means the most Islamically is having a close connection to Allah and being close to Allah. That's why you go to a masjid in the middle of nowhere, and an individual will enter the masjid and 4 other individuals will enter the masjid. Maybe one person is an engineer, maybe one person is a doctor, maybe one person is a multimillionaire, he owns 16 businesses, and one person, he's the street cleaner. You know street cleaner? He cleans the street. None of that means anything in the sight of Allah. How much money you have in your bank doesn't mean nothing. What means everything is how close you are to Allah. So perhaps the street cleaner will lead the prayer because he's a hafiz Quran and he's close to Allah and he's pious. So the Prophet, he responded to the question of the companions when he was asked who is the most generous and good of all people. He said, أَتْقَاهُمْ لِلَّهِ, the one who's closest to Allah. قَالُوا لَيْسَ عَنْ هَذَا نَسْأَلُكَ. They said, oh Rasulullah, we're not talking about that. We didn't mean that. قال فأكرم الناس يوسف نبي الله ابن نبي الله ابن نبي الله ابن خليل الله. So he responded, oh, you want to know who the best person or the person who has the most khair in general is? Oh, you're asking generally who is it? Oh, he said Yousuf, Nabi Allah, Yousuf, the Prophet of God, Ibn Nabi Allah, the son of the Prophet of God, Ibn Nabi Allah, the son of a Prophet of God, Ibn Khalil Allah, the son of the Khalil of Allah. Because Yousuf, the son of Yaqub, Prophet of God, the son of Ishaq, Prophet of God, the son of Ibrahim al-Khalil, the Prophet of God. So, قالوا ليس عن هذا نسألك. They said, oh Rasulullah, we don't even mean that. No, we didn't mean that. So he goes on to say, قال فعن معادن العرب تسألوني الناس معادن خيارهم في الجاهلية خيارهم في الإسلام إذا فقهوا. The Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا فقهوا. There's two تشكيل of the hadith. إذا فقهوا. So he said, oh, so you're not asking me about that either? So you're asking me about معادن العربي? You're asking me about the minerals of the Arabs. Ma'adan is translated linguistically as a mineral. Ma'adan is the plural of ma'dan. The ma'adan is the thing that you find in the earth. You find valuable rocks in the earth such as diamonds, and you also find things that have no value like coal or something that is invaluable. So people have value and people have no value. There's an honorable person and there's a person that has no honor. There's a person that has a strong lineage. He comes from a good family. He comes from an aristocrat family. And there's a person that comes from a low lineage. So he's like, oh, you're asking me about the best of people, like in terms of lineage and stuff. He goes, خيارهم في الجاهلية خيارهم في الإسلام. He goes, the greatest of those in Jahiliyyah, in the time of ignorance, due to their lineage or due to their status, are the best in Islam. Yani the best after they become Muslim. They maintain that honor and that dignity and that status إذا فقهوا. If they attained an understanding of deen. Yani they become the best in ignorance becomes the best in Islam under the pretext and under the condition if they become people of religion and an understanding of their religion. Because if you don't have understanding in religion, you become a Muslim, it means nothing. You have understanding of deen, then you also raise in status. The point of these two ahadith is to point out that go sit against the wall, go relax, be easy. It's a long class. So he says that the greatest of you in Islam is the greatest in Jahiliyyah. We see this in Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He was from the aristocrats of Quraysh. He was from the head of Quraysh, to the degree that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to make dua, Allahumma a'izz al-Islami bi-ahabbil rajulayni ilayka, Amr ibn Hisham or Umar ibn al-Khattabi. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to make dua to Allah. He used to say, oh Allah, please grant honor and pride to Islam. We want Islam to be honorable because Islam was weak, but we need help from someone strong. So either Amr ibn Hisham, who was Abu Jahl. Abu Jahl, his nickname before he was a Muslim was Abu al-Hakam. Abu al-Hakam means the father of wisdom. Look. His nickname, his kunya, before Islam came about, in the time of ignorance, was Abu al-Hakam, the father of hikmah, the father of wisdom, because he was wise. And he used to be an individual that they used to go to for seeking advice and shura. And he was the head of Dar al-Nadwa. He was the head of this consultation that Quraysh had. He had a high status. And Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab also had a high status. And he was the youngest of those who used to sit in Dar al-Nadwa, when Quraysh used to gather to talk about how they're going to rid them of Muhammad, because Muhammad's coming to make problems, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the Prophet used to make dua. The Prophet is a wise man. He makes dua, Ya Allah, grant us pride through one of the two most beloved men to you, either Umar ibn al-Khattab or Umar ibn Hisham. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, he answered the dua of the Prophet. And Umar ibn al-Khattab, he became a Muslim. He became a Muslim and he granted Islam. Right when he became a Muslim, Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Muhammad, Shaykh Muhammad. The microphone got scared of Sayyidina Umar. The Prophet ﷺ, he said in an authentic hadith that there was never a time that Umar walked down the street except the shaitan looked for a different street to go down from fear of Umar ibn al-Khattab. Sayyidina Umar was a fierce, strong man. That's why Allah, he granted honor and pride to the religion of Islam through Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. We spoke about him in great detail in the class on Tazkiyah. If you all remember the class that got lost from the internet feed, it cut off. We spoke about him in great detail and we talked about his virtues in that class. The point of this example is that Umar ibn Khattab, when he became a Muslim, Allah granted him pride and honor in Islam because he was an individual of understanding in his religion. So now we know that Yousuf alayhi salam is the son of Yaqub alayhi salam. And Yaqub alayhi salam, to talk a little about lineage, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, he had two sons. Does anyone know the story about how Ibrahim alayhi salam had his sons? Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, Khalilullah, he was originally from Babel, Iraq, Mesopotamia. He migrated with his wife Sarah. He ran away from that land and he went to some place called Sham. He went to Palestine, Canaan. He went with his wife from Babel because he ran away. You remember they ألقوه في الجحيم, they threw him in the fire. فأرادوا به كيدا فجعلناهم هم الأخسرين. They wanted to plot against him and make a plan against him and burn him into the fire. But we made their plan and we made them all from the true losers. Ibrahim alayhi salam had a couple of miracles. From his miracles was that he was thrown into a fire. قُلْنَا يَا نَارُ كُونِي بَرْدًا وَسَلَامًا عَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ. He was thrown into a fire. The fire had no effect because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who could control anything in the heavens and the earth. So he made the fire be peaceful and cool on Ibrahim. He calls out to the fire, and this is narrated in the Quran, Quranic story of Ibrahim. Allah, he talks to the fire. Allah, he talks to the fire. He tells the fire to be cool and gentle on Ibrahim. قُلْنَا يَا نَارُ كُونِي بَرْدًا وَسَلَامًا. The ulama of Tafseer, they said something interesting. They said if Allah called out to the fire and told the fire to be cool, it would have froze him. So he told it to be cool and gentle. So Ibrahim was thrown into the fire to die and perish and to burn, and the opposite happened. Allah saved him. Then he ran away. قَالَ إِنِّي ذَاهِبٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّي سَيَهْدِينِ. He ran away to Allah figuratively and physically. And he said, I'm going to run to Allah and Allah will guide me. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلُنَا وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَمَعَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Allah, he ends Surut Al-Ankabut saying, and those people who strive for my cause. If you fight jihad or you have jihad and nafs, you strive for the cause of Allah in anything you do. Being a mu'min is striving in the cause of Allah in everything you do. Allah, he says, لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلُنَا. We will guide them to our righteous paths. وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَمَعَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And indeed Allah is with the muhsin. Allah is with the individual who's upright and does good. إِنَّا لَنَرَاكَ مِنَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Yousuf alayhi salam, when the two prison mates come to talk to him, they describe him, they call out to him not as his name. They say, we see you from those who are muhsin. إحسان. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلُنَا وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَمَعَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And those who strive in our way, in the way of Allah, for the cause of Allah, Allah will grant you a way. He'll grant you ways. He'll grant you paths and openings. He granted an opening to Musa alayhi salam when he split the sea. Right? That was an opening. He granted Sayyidina Yunus alayhi salam an opening when the whale spit him out. He granted Yousuf alayhi salam an opening when he became the finance minister after being in jail. He grants you openings in life. The believer that goes and strives and struggles in dunya, you want to receive openings from Allah, you be with Allah. And I have a statement I always say to my friends. My friends, maybe they call me, they talk to me about something, or they speak to me in person. I learned this statement from a close friend of mine as well. So I'm not going to take credit for it. He said it, but I'm propagating it, so I'm making it popular. You could vent to someone, you vent to someone about difficulties in dunya, this happened, that happened. You could talk for 20 minutes. The response is one response. The response is always the same. The response of an imam doing counseling with someone is always the same denominator. Be with Allah, brother. Turn to Allah, brother. Call out to Allah, brother. Praise Allah, brother. This all translates to one thing. Be with Allah and you will win. Be with Allah, Allah, he makes a way out for you. Be with Allah like Yousuf was with Allah, Allah made a way out for him. Be with Allah like Ibrahim alayhi salam was with Allah, Allah, he made a way out for him. Be with Allah like Ayub was with Allah and Allah made a way out for him. Be with Allah like Yunus alayhi salam was with Allah and Allah made a way out for him. Be with Allah like Salih and Hud and all the prophets of God were with Allah and Allah made a way out for all of them. You have any difficulty in your life, the answer to this difficulty is, brother, be with Allah and you're going to win. You cannot lose if you're with Allah. You will never lose if you're with Allah. You will always win. Every outcome is a victory. وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بَالِغُ أَمْرِهِ قَدْ جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدْرًا. Allah, he speaks about divorce in Surah Al-Talaq, a surah called the Surah of Divorce. In the context of divorce, after speaking about laws pertaining to divorce, Allah, he says, وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. And whomsoever has fear of Allah and he's with Allah, Allah, he makes a way out for him. He opens the door for him. Allah, he makes a way out for him. He opens the door for him. وَيَرْزُقُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. And he grants him provision and rizq from where he would have never fathomed and imagined. He opens and he gives him rizq. You have fear of Allah, you get rizq. The only way to make it in dunya is to be with Allah. You want to be victorious in any scenario, you be with Allah, you're going to win. Being with Allah is the only source of your victory, and we learn this from the stories of the prophets and messengers. All different stories, all long different stories, one common denominator, one common theme. They were with Allah, they won and they were victorious at the end. They were with Allah, they won and they were victorious at the end, depending on the scenario, depending on the situation, depending on the duration. All different durations, all different scenarios. Nuh, Idris, Salih, Hud, Musa, Isa, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, talking about lineage, Ibrahim alayhi salam, he wanted a child with his beautiful wife Sarah that he loved dearly. He was not able to have a child with her. Excuse me. He was not able to have a child with her. So he married a second wife called Hajar. And with Hajar he had a baby boy called Ismail alayhi salam. Where was Ismail alayhi salam born? I'm not sure if it was in Mecca, but I know they went to Mecca right after he was born. I think in Canaan. I think he was born in Palestine or Mecca. Anyway, so he had Ismail with Hajar, and then he was commanded by God to leave them off in Mecca, at that time Becca, which is where we get the story of Zamzam and Safa wal Marwa and the manasik of Hajj from the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam with Hajar and Ismail. He went back to Sarah, and they say a saying in Arabic, I'm not sure how accurate it is scientifically. They say Ar-Raham Tughar. They say that the womb gets jealous sometimes. He was trying to have a child with Sarah for many years. She couldn't. He was about 100 years old. He went and he had a child with Hajar, and then Sarah gave him Ishaq. Sarah bore him a child, Ishaq. So he had two sons now. One with Hajar, Ismail, and one with Sarah, which was Ishaq. Pay attention here. Pay attention here. Ibrahim alayhi salam is known as Khalilullah. That's his nickname. Ibrahim al-Khalil, the intimate friend of Allah. وَاتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ خَلِيلًا. And Allah, He took Ibrahim, an intimate friend. You have Medina al-Khalil في Palestine. We have the city of Khalil in Palestine. Hebron. It's called Hebron. Why is the city of Khalil called Khalil? Because in it you'll find the masjid of Ibrahim al-Khalil. You'll find the masjid of Ibrahim al-Khalil alayhi salam, where Ibrahim alayhi salam is buried. The Yahud, the Jews, they go in it and they do their own taqus and they do the religious acts inside the masjid, but the masjid is for the Muslims. The city of Hebron, Khalil, is named after Ibrahim alayhi salam, who's buried in it. There's also other tombs in there of Yaqub and of Yousuf. They claim it to be. We're not sure how accurate that is. So Ibrahim, we said he's known as the intimate friend of Allah, Khalilullah, also known as Abul Anbiya, also referred to as the father of all prophets. Why is Ibrahim alayhi salam referred to as the father of all prophets? He's referred to the father of all prophets because from his lineage is al-nabuwata wal-kitab. وَجَعَلْنَا فِي ذُرِّيَّتِهِ النَّبُوَّةَ وَالْكِتَابَ وَآتَيْنَاهُ أَجْرَهُ فِي الدُّنْيَا. Allah, He says about Ibrahim alayhi salam, we gave him in his progeny, in his offspring, in his duriyah, an-nabuwah, prophethood, wal-kitab, and the books that were sent down. وَآتَيْنَاهُ أَجْرَهُ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَإِنَّهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ لَمِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ. And we gave him his reward, Ibrahim. We gave him reward in this dunya by giving him sons and a pious offspring. And in the hereafter, he's from the pious and righteous people. From Ishaq comes who? Yaqub. From Yaqub comes Yousuf alayhi salam wal asbat. From Yaqub comes this story, Yousuf alayhi salam and the asbat, who are the brothers of Joseph, who are the tribes of Bani Israel. The prophets and messengers all came from the lineage of Ibrahim alayhi salam. The prophets and messengers after Sayyidina Ibrahim all came from his lineage, from two ends. The end of Ishaq, the son of Sarah, and the lineage of Ismail alayhi salam, the son of Hajar. Who were the prophets that came down from the lineage of Ibrahim and Ishaq? All of them, except for one. The one that came generations later from Ismail alayhi salam was Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and Nabi al-Adnani. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is from the lineage of Ibrahim. His forefather was Ibrahim. Yusuf alayhi salam's great-great-great-grandfather was Ibrahim alayhi salam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He granted them a high status. So Yusuf alayhi salam, the son of Ishaq, the son of Yaqub, the son of Ishaq. Yaqub had 11 sons alongside with Yusuf. 11 sons alongside Yusuf. So وذلك لأنه عليه السلام جمع بين مكارم الأخلاق مع شرف النبوة مع شرف النسب. They say that why is Yusuf al-Kareem? Because the Prophet said, if you ask him about Akram al-Nas, then it's Yusuf alayhi salam. Why is he al-Kareem ibn al-Kareem? Why is he the one who possesses good? Kareem is the one who possesses goodness, the generous, honorable person. Why is Yusuf this? They say because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought with him makaram al-akhlaqi ma' sharaf al-nubuwah, the greatest of all etiquette, along with the honor of being a prophet, along with the honor of a honorable lineage. So he had all these things together. وسئل أبو الحسن الأقطع وكان حكيما عن يوسف فقال الأسف في اللغة الحزن والأسيف العبد وقد اجتمع في يوسف فلذلك سمي يوسف. الأقطع was asked, and he was a wise man. Al-Aqta was a famous linguist, and he was a wise man. He was asked about Yousuf. He said that Yousuf comes from Al-Asaf and Al-Asif. Al-Asaf means to have something that's saddened, sadness, because his story is very sad, right? It's very happy at the end, but it's a sad story. Of course, you cry when you read it. Ya Asafa ala Yousuf. It's a very sad story. They say that it's also a linguistic miracle that Allah chose the word Yousuf, the name Yousuf. It's so close to sadness, and it's a soft word. It's not a strong word. The words of Yawm al-Qiyamah are strong words. The words in Surah At-Tawbah are strong words. The words in Surah Yousuf, they're soft, nice words, gentle words. So, and Asif, which means slave, and he was both a slave, and it was a very sad story what happened to him. So, إذ قال يوسف لأبيه يا أبت إني رأيت أحد عشر كوكبا والشمس والقمر رأيتهم لي ساجدين. Observation number one, Yusuf alayhi salam, we talked about who he is, prophet of God, from the dhurriyyah of Ibrahim, son of Yaqub, son of Ishaq. He went to his father with an intimate dream. We see that the father and the son, they have a strong connection. In order for Yusuf alayhi salam to go and open up to his father about something so intimate like a dream, it means that he had a strong connection with his dad. Yo, stop. Leave that. It means that he had a strong connection with his father. In order for Yusuf alayhi salam to open up to his dad, it means he had a strong relationship with his father. This is keynote here, is the father and son should have a strong relationship to the fact that your son comes and open up to you. Not your son goes and open up to the guy on what is it now? What are the things that everyone talks on? There's a new thing that everyone's on. What is it? Reddit? Yeah, Reddit is one. There's another thing that the kids use now. That's all. It's always texting in it. Yeah, maybe that. Yeah. No, not that. That's a game. No, there's something now. Everyone's Snapchat. Huh? Discord? Who said that? No, there's something that they're always on, and there's like a video of someone you can ask questions in it and stuff. Anyway, some garbage. All garbage. They're all different names of garbage. Social media is ibala qadr. All like Roblox, Dropbox, Inbox, Mailbox, Snapchat, Instagram. All jokes aside, social media can be used for khair. Like you can know about a dars in it, you can know about a masjid in it, you can know about good things in it, but it can also be used for, it's like a double-edged sword. So the mu'min has to be careful with what he uses. And if he's scared for himself, if he's worried about himself, he just leaves all the garbage in the garbage. He doesn't have to reuse and recycle garbage. So better than opening up to someone online or opening up to someone in public school, you go open up to your father. In order to open up to your dad has to have a good relationship with you. Yusuf alayhi salam here in this surah, he opens up to his dad about an intimate dream he has. On the flip side, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, his great-great-great-grandfather, did the same with his son. And the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail alayhi salam in Surah As-Safat, قال يا بني إني أرى في المنام أني أذبحك فانظر ماذا ترى قال يا أبتي افعل ما تؤمر ستجدني إن شاء الله من الصابرين. Over there in Surah As-Safat, and the story of Ibrahim, wallahi, the fruit, the fruit, it doesn't fall far from the tree. The fruit, it doesn't fall far from the tree. If you have good character and you're noble, your children will be noble and they'll have good character. They'll take after you, and it comes in your lineage. Ibrahim alayhi salam, he opened up to his son the same way. Did Ibrahim alayhi salam have to open up to his son Ismail and ask him what he thought about it? Did he have to open up to Ismail and say, what do you think about my dream? How did Ismail alayhi salam respond to his father? Look at this noble son. He said, oh my father, if'al ma tu'mar. Do what you were commanded, dad. You're going to ask me? Not, oh, but why are you going to, like, why, like, why? No. It's Islam. He had submission. He said, oh my father, you do as Allah commanded you to do. You will find me indeed from those who are patient. You'll find me indeed of those who exert patience in this command. And here Yusuf tells his dad about a dream. His dad was a pious prophet of God, and he tells him that he sees 11 stars and then the sun and the moon prostrating to him. So we understand from this that this is a dream from two ways. We understand that what just happened now in this context is a dream from two ways. The first way we understand it is a dream is that he says it. He goes, إني رأيت no. He says قال يا بني لا تقصص رؤياك على إخوتك. We understand that it was a dream because he says that I don't know, it's not coming to me. No. He said that I saw the sun and the moon prostrating toward me. That doesn't make logical sense. So we understand that it's from a dream. I don't know. I was reading it in Tafseer. Yeah, but no, I know, but I want to know how he knew that it was. There was two things that the scholars mentioned that we understand that this was a dream from two ways. The first way is that Yaqub alayhi salam told him, don't mention your ru'ya to your brothers, and the other way is that he told them the event that took place, which was that 11 stars and the sun and the moon prostrated toward him. That doesn't make logical sense. That doesn't happen. The star and the moon, how does it prostrate? So we understand that it's a dream. So now we want to talk about dreams in Islam. This is the next category, the next thing to speak about, the next folder to open. Dreams in Islam, dreams of prophets are revelation. Ru'a al-anbiya haq. The dreams of prophets are a form of revelation from Allah. Ibrahim had a dream, Yousuf had a dream, Yaqub alayhi salam, they all have dreams, right? So dreams in Islam are categorized into three categories. Dreams in Islam are categorized into three separate categories. The first dream is called a bushra, or a ru'ya from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A good dream from Allah. A good dream from Allah is known as a bushra. It's a dream that when you see, there's certain signs, they give certain signs that a dream is from Allah. From the signs that they give that a dream is from Allah is that you hear Quran in it, or Quran is recited in it, or you see yourself praying in it, or you see the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in it, because you can, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the shaitan doesn't come in his form in the dream. الشيطان لا يتمثل به. So you see the Prophet in it, or you see Allah in it, or you read Quran in it, or you hear Quran in it, or it's something pious taking place in it, and you wake up from this dream feeling what? This is an underlying characteristic of a good dream. You wake up from this dream feeling amazing, not bad, not lethargic, not tired. You wake up from this dream feeling amazing, feeling relieved, feeling feeling good feelings in your heart. This was a gift to the Muslim. This is a gift to the mu'min. A good dream is a dream of glad tidings. That's category number one, a dream from Allah. Another sign of a dream from Allah is that you remember it vividly and it's not vague at all. How many times do you wake up from a dream and I ask you, oh, what happened? What did you see? You say, oh, well, I can't remember. You just woke up 5 minutes ago. This is number one sign that it's not a dream from Allah. What do you do when you have a dream from Allah? How do you react when you have a dream from Allah? You could tell someone close to you, if you do not fear, that they will envy you. Or you could open up to a pious person, which is a smart thing to do, in order to get his feedback. You don't tell everyone. The next type of dream is a nightmare. A nightmare, aka a dream from shaitan, a dream from the devil to bring you down, to make you scared. The believer does not get scared from a dream. We're going to read in the hadith how the Prophet ﷺ gave advice to combat a bad dream and what to do with a good dream. The third type of dream is something called a nafsi dream, a dream from the nafs. A meaningless, everyday dream, which could come from one's lower self or subconscious thoughts. You get a new job, you start your new job and you're stressing, you're losing your hair is all white. Your hair is white and you're stressed out every day, you lose sleep. Or you go bald and you're just stressed out every day and you go to sleep and you have back spasms in your sleep and you dream and you see your boss in your dream and your boss, you don't know how she looks because it's on Zoom, but you're just scared you hear her voice. This is a nafsi dream because you're thinking about it a lot. Or a nafsi dream is the dream that the high schooler, he's 13 years old and he sees a girl in his class and he thinks he likes her, but he doesn't know what liking anybody is yet because he's 13 years old, he doesn't know nothing yet. But he thinks he likes her and he's infatuated by her. So he thinks about her every day. He goes to the water fountain, he trips on someone's backpack. He trips on someone's backpack walking to the water fountain because he's just thinking about his girl. And she's not his girl, he has nothing to do with her. He's thinking about her all day, all night. He's in love with her. He already made up in his mind how he's going to marry her and what hill he's going to run on with her. And they're going to run away together and make a life together. All in his head. He's 13 years old. He doesn't know nothing yet. He doesn't even know what oil he needs in his car because he doesn't have a car. My point is, this is another example of a nafsi dream. He goes home and he has a dream of that girl, and the dream comes and it gives him happiness. The dream means nothing to him. It's 0%. It's just a nafsi dream. Another example of a nafsi dream is someone who's tired or hungry, and he has a dream and he sees a triple cheeseburger from Burger King, but it's not halal, so he can't have it. Or he sees some commercial for Prime, some good energy drink or something, because he's really thirsty. So, ru'ya from Allah, a good uplifting dream, it gives you an uplifting feeling to your spirit. It's Allah giving you a little motivation and push to do good. The ru'ya of anbiya are all true, and the ru'ya of anbiya are all revelation. The prophets and messengers, when they have dreams, it's revelation, alright? Second category is shaitan comes to bring you down. Shaitan comes to scare you, it's a nightmare. You wake up and you saw Sleepy Hollow or whatever you saw, it was terrifying. You woke up and you're really scared. Third one is the nafsi dream, which is the girl that you saw in high school that means nothing to you. So There's a couple of ahadith that speak about dreams. By the way, the Islamic content or Islamic Quran and Sunnah when it comes to dreams is a lot. It's not this new world garbage that we have in secular world where dreams just mean this and that and the star, this, that. No. It's from the Prophet ﷺ. He goes, سمعت أبا سلمة يقول لقد كنت أرى الرؤيا فتمرضني حتى سمعت أبا قتادة يقول وأنا كنت لأرى الرؤيا تمرضني حتى سمعت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول. This is a beautiful hadith, wallahi. There's two companions. They're complaining about dreams that they're making them sick. They're complaining about dreams. They keep having reoccurring dreams and they're making tumriduni. They're making them sick to their stomach. And I know exactly what this means because I've been to this. When you have dreams over and over, you go through something in life, you have non-stop dreams, you wake up and you're discomfort everywhere, tashannuj in your back. You have discomfort, shortness of breath because you're going through something or you're having bad dreams. So he said, I was having the same problem until I heard the Prophet say this. He goes, wallahi, me too, man. I used to get sick from my dreams too until I heard the Prophet say this. الرؤيا الحسنة من الله فإذا رأى أحدكم ما يحب فلا يحدث به إلا من يحبه. The good dream, الرؤيا الحسنة, is from Allah. So if you saw something in your dream that you like, so don't tell anybody about this dream except for someone that you like or that is close to you, yani someone intimate to you. Wallahi, Quran comes, إذ قال يوسف لأبيه. إذ قال يوسف لأبيه. Yusuf tells his dad. The two people in prison, they talk to Yousuf, a good man, someone they loved. Ibrahim alayhi salam, he tells, يا بني إني أرى في المنام أني أذبحك. Ibrahim talking to Ismail. First dream, good dream, bushra, ru'ya hasana, ru'ya salihah. From Allah, you keep it to yourself. You only tell those who you're very close with and that are pious. Yeah, there's no point of telling someone that's not pious. What are you going to get out of it? وإذا رأى ما يكرهه فليتعوذ بالله من شرها ومن شر الشيطان ولينتفل ثلاثا ولا يحدث بها أحدا فإنها لن تضره. The second kind of dream is that which is a dream, you see something bad in it, yani a nightmare, you see something bad in it. So what do you do from this? You seek refuge in Allah from the dream, from the badness of this dream, وَمِن شَرِّ الشَّيْطَانِ, and from the badness of the Satan. وَلَا يُحْدِثُ بِهَا أَحَدًا, and you don't tell anybody about this dream. I want to say something right now. Right now we read the Prophet's advice. If you take the Prophet's medication and you take it, Wallahi al-Azim, it works. Wallahi al-Azim, it works. Other than going and seeing a nightmare and then calling your friend and shaking, telling him everything, then it bothers you. Then it remains in your memory. If you take the prophetic medication to getting rid of a nightmare, it works 100%. Money back guaranteed, wallahi. You go, you have a bad dream. The Prophet ﷺ said the first thing you do is you seek refuge in Allah from the badness of that dream. You say, oh Allah, I seek refuge in Allah. A'udhu billah, a'udhu billah. You say, a'udhu billah, a'udhu billah from that dream. No matter what it was. Then you say, a'udhu billahi min ash-shaytan ar-rajim. Then you say, oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from the shaitan. The shaitan wants to come bring me down. You don't tell anybody about this dream. You don't tell anybody about it. You keep it to yourself. And then you also, you spit on your left side 3 times, sunnah of the Prophet. And when I say spit, I'm not saying al-basq. You don't spit saliva. You do this 3 times on your side. And that's wal-yattafil. That's a tafil. You like that 3 times. You say, A'udhu billahi min ash-shaytan rajim. And you scare the shaitan away. Also in salah, there's a sunnah from the sunnah of salah for the individual that loses khushu' in salah. And it's a forgotten sunnah. And perhaps I tell you all now because you're students of knowledge, but you don't spit on the guy next to you. Yeah? Lest he punch you in the face. That's a big problem. So in salah, if you have lack of khushu' or shaitan comes to you, you go, like you say to yourself, and you do that 3 times gently. And inshallah, the shaitan goes away from you. This is a way to. So we saw the hadith speaks about good dream. Good dream, you tell those who are beloved to you. Bad dream, you don't ever mention again. You seek refuge in Allah from the dream and from shaitan. And you spit to your left side 3 times. Another hadith that I brought. وعن أبي هريرة عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال الرؤيا 3 فبشرى من الله وحديث النفس وتخويف من الشيطان فإن رأى أحدكم رؤيا تعجبه فليقص إن شاء وإن رأى شيئا يكرهه فلا يقصه على أحد وليقم يصلي. The Prophet in this hadith, he mentions that dreams are 3 types. We just said that in the beginning. Dreams are 3 types. He says, Bushra from Allah, good news from Allah, good dream from Allah. Second type, wa hadithun nafs, your soul talking to yourself. what we just said, nafsi dream. And then takhweefun min ash-shaytan, in a nightmare from the accursed Satan. So if any of you sees something in his dream that he likes, that makes him happy, let him tell whoever he wants. And if he sees something bad in his dream, let him not tell anybody at all about it, and let him get up and pray salah. Yani get up and pray salah, get up and be active, get up out of your bed. Don't lie down in bed. The best way to combat a nightmare is, like we said, either the first way, which is a'udhu billah, and that, or getting up immediately, washing your face, making wudu and praying salah. It goes away immediately. It's as if it never happened. We'll end with one more hadith in regards to dreams. عن أبي سعيد الخدري رضي الله تعالى عنه أنه سمع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول: إذا رأى أحدكم الرؤيا يحبها فإنها من الله فليحمد الله تعالى عليها وليحدث بها، وإذا رأى غير ذلك مما يكرهه فإنما هي من الشيطان فليستعذ من شرها ولا يذكرها لأحد فإنها لن تضره. رواه البخاري. Last hadith, they all have the same meaning in different ways. If one of you sees a dream that he loves and he likes, let him thank Allah for that dream. Say Alhamdulillah. فَلْيَحْمَدِ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى عَلَيْهَا. Say Alhamdulillah. This is a great thing. They say the ru'ya from Allah, the good dream, the bashara from Allah is for righteous people. If you're a pious man, inshallah you get this. They say it's not. No, it's not specific to righteous people. No. Of course, the righteous person, of course, the righteous individual, of course, logically speaking, the righteous person has a higher chance of having a good dream. Why is that? Who's talking logically? I want to know. Someone say something. Why is that? Yeah? Yeah, but exactly. But why? Why does he have Allah's favor? Why does the pious person have a higher chance of seeing a good dream? Yeah? Yeah, they have less bad in their life. They're in the masjid, they're making wudu, they're on a state of tahara, they're praying salah, they're reading Quran, they have Allah throughout their life all the time. They're thinking of good things, they're with good people, they're in good environments. Of course, it's a higher chance that he's going to get a good dream. Of course, without a doubt. So, we see that it's not specific to a pious person though, because anybody can have a good dream. There could be a bad person that has a good dream. There could be a bad person that has a dream that's from Allah as well. Who is a bad person that had a good dream? The Aziz of Egypt, in the story of Yousuf alayhi salam, he has a dream that tells him about 7 good years and 7 bad years. It's a dream that saved the civilization of Egypt. It's a dream that saved Egypt, and it brought Yousuf out of jail. The guy that had the dream was an evil guy. So it doesn't mean that you have to be a good pious person to have a good dream. There's many stories on YouTube. Not even on YouTube, in real life there's instances, but there was one I came across on YouTube about 3 years ago about some Mexican guy. And there's a city in Mexico, there's a town in Mexico, I forgot the name of it. It's completely 100% Muslim right now. Mexico is more religious than the Vatican. The Vatican City has nothing on Mexico. They're all Catholics, especially the Mexicans in the mountains, those who are very close to the religion. This guy in this random rural village in the mountains of Mexico had a dream where he saw the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he became a Muslim ala tul. He goes and he becomes a Muslim immediately, and the whole village is Muslim now, and they have a masjid there, and they have an imam there, and now they're going to Medina to study Islam. The whole village became Muslim because of one man's dream. So Allah can send a dream to whoever He wants, and anybody can have a dream. And there's many stories of people that had good dreams that made them Muslim. There's also another viral video that went viral like 10 years ago or 12 years ago. I was in Al-Ghazali High School, and they played it in one of the Islamic studies classes. An Australian man was talking about his story about how he became a Muslim. He also had a dream. So dreams are cut into 2 categories: good dreams, dreams from Allah, and adghathu ahlamin. Adghathu ahlam means dreams that have no meaning, false dreams. Adghathu ahlamin is 2 types: a nafsi dream or a shaitanic nightmare. You got that? Altogether 3 types. Good dream from Allah. Good dream from Allah gives the believer motivation to keep persevering. So he says to his father, "Oh my dear father, indeed I have seen a dream with 11 stars and the sun and the moon. I saw them prostrating to me." There's something interesting that happens in this ayah. He says, I saw 11 stars. He mentioned the stars before the sun and the moon, first of all. Then he goes, رَأَيْتُهُمْ لِي سَاجِدِينَ. He says again that I saw. In the beginning, he says I saw, and then when he talks about their sujood, their prostration, he says again, رَأَيْتُهُمْ لِي. He didn't say رَأَيْتُهُمْ. He goes, رَأَيْتُهُمْ لِي سَاجِدِينَ. They say this is emphasis, to emphasize the fact that he saw something abnormal, because it doesn't make sense for stars and the sun and the moon to prostrate and make sujood. It doesn't make sense. So he says it again to emphasize that. Now, who are the stars and who are the sun and the moon? Of course, we all know, because we all hear it since we were little kids, that the story is about his brothers and his mother and father. So The stars are his brothers. He had 11 brothers. The asbat are Yousuf and his brothers, they're 12. اثنتي عشرة أصباطا أمما. Allah refers to the asbat, the progeny of Yaqub, as 12 tribes. The 12 tribes of Israel. Israel is who? Israel is who? Yeah. كل الطعام كان حلا لبني إسرائيل إلا ما حرم إسرائيل على نفسه. All the Israel alayhi salam is Yaqub. The children of Israel are the progeny of Yaqub. Who are they? The 11 brothers of Yousuf and Yousuf, the asbat. He sees he doesn't know yet, but it's his brothers, and he sees the sun and the moon. Who are the sun and the moon? The sun and the moon are his mother and his father. The scholars, they go back and forth, and they have different opinions on which one is the sun and which one is the moon. The opinion that's taken at the end, or the most common opinion, is that the sun is the mother, because she's the source of light in life to the kid, she gives birth, and the moon is the father because it's strong, and the moon is also masculine in the Arabic language. It's a masculine noun, and the shams is a feminine noun, right? That's the stronger opinion. There's another opinion that the dad is the sun. Anyway, their mom and dad is the sun and the moon. This teaches us something intimate, and that's that the sun and the moon, they grant light, and they're a source of happiness and comfort to the person. Wallahi. وَبِالنَّجْمِ هُمْ يَهْتَدُونَ. You seek guidance when you're in the middle of the desert through the stars. Before we had smartphones, when you want to check the qibla out, you look at the sky. You look at the stars, you look at the sun, you look at the moon. You look at the sky. The sun is the source of light. Your mother is your source of light in this world. Maybe you don't realize it, but this is an indirect sign from Allah that your parents grant you light and happiness and comfort. Wallahi, maybe you don't realize it consciously, but when you're out on a nice dark night and it's a crisp night and you see the moon, it comforts you because the light of the moon is radiant. And the moon is a beautiful thing to see. The moon is a beautiful thing to see. And you tell someone, Enta kal-badri. You're like a full moon. Your face is radiant like a full moon. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when the companions explain his beauty, or they describe his beauty, they say his face was like the face of a full moon, and it was gorgeous. When the Arab used to talk about women in Jahili poetry, speaking about her beauty, they say she was a full moon. Why? The full moon is beautiful. So a moon is something that comforts you, and a sun is something that comforts you. He says that he saw them all prostrating toward him. قال يا بني لا تقصص رؤياك على إخوتك فيكيدوا لك كيدا إن الشيطان للإنسان عدو مبين. His father responds to him, "Oh my dear son, do not describe or do not say this story of your dream to your brothers, lest they plot against you a plot. إن الشيطان للإنسان عدو مبين. Indeed, Satan is a sworn enemy to humankind. Indeed, Satan is a sworn enemy to humankind." First observation is that Sayyidina Yaqub alayhi salam, he responds to his son Yousuf with Ya Bunayya. He responds to him, "Oh my dear son." He doesn't say Ya Ibni, he says Ya Bunayya, in response to Ya Abati. Wallahi, the etiquette of the speech of the prophets is something we should all learn from, and the etiquette of the Quran is high level. When you talk to someone, it doesn't take more than 3 seconds to construct a nicer reply back. 3 seconds is long, it's prolonged. It takes a millisecond, maybe 3.5 milliseconds. How many milliseconds is in a second? 1,000 milliseconds? It takes 4.5 milliseconds. How long does it take to think of something nice to say? وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ. Allah, when He speaks to Bani Israel, the Jews, He says, speak nice to people. وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا. The Prophet, he says that indeed the slave will say a word. This word that he says, it could be a phrase, it could be a sentence. The word in Arabic could mean more than just a word. That's so pleasing to Allah. He says a word, لا يلقي بها بالا. He says a word to someone, a nice uplifting word to someone. You say something good to someone, you don't even think about the words you said to him. And with that word that you said, you receive the pleasure of Allah, and you continuously go up and you raise your ranks in Jannah. And then the slave could say a word that's so displeasing to Allah, min sakhatillahi. You could say a word with your tongue, like you could say something mean to someone. You're not even thinking about it. You said it like you laughed about it, you told him that in passing, and then he went home and you went to sleep and you went on your iPhone, and he's there hurting. He's hurting in his heart. He's like, "Yo, why do you have to say that to me? That really hurt my feelings." So you could say something with your tongue. The tongue is dangerous. The tongue is very dangerous. Double-edged sword. The Prophet ﷺ Prophet ﷺ, he said, whomsoever can guarantee me what is between his two beards, yani the mustache and the beard, yani your tongue, and between your two thighs, yani your private part, who can guarantee me these two things? أَضْمَنُ لَهُ الْجَنَّةِ. If you can guarantee the Prophet that you won't curse and talk bad and say bad things with your mouth, the number one source of Jahannam is your mouth and your faraj, and your private part. The number one source of Jahannam. Who can protect the mouth and the private part is guaranteed Jannah. Is guaranteed Jannah. So it's not difficult to say good things to people. It's not difficult to say a nice word to someone. The Prophet ﷺ, he had the best of etiquette and the best of speech, and he was the most uplifting. So when someone says something nice to you, if someone greets you in a nice way, you respond that same way or nicer. And this is Islamic, and this is from the Quran, and this is found in the 86th ayah of Surut An-Nisa, the 4th chapter of the Quran. Allah, he says, وَإِذَا حُيِّيتُم بِتَحِيَّةٍ فَحَيُّوا بِهَا فَحَيُّوا بِأَحْسَنِ مِنْهَا أَوْ رُدُّوهَا إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ حَصِيبًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says in Surah An-Nisa, and if you were to be greeted with a greeting of any sort, so respond to that greeting with something better than it. فَحَيُّوا بِأَحْسَنِ مِنْهَا. Be more respectful in the response. If someone comes with goodness, come back with something better. أَوْ رُدُّوهَا. Or respond, or the bare minimum, or at the bare minimum, you respond exactly to how he said it. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ حَصِيبًا. Indeed, Allah is an account of everything that takes place. From this ayah and from the ahadith we mentioned, we see that it is incumbent upon you that if you're greeted by someone Islamically, it is wajib alayk to respond exactly what he responded to. This is wajib. Then it's sunnah, and then it's better, and it's more emphasized to respond to something nicer. What is the most common example we have for this? Assalamu alaikum. What do you have if you are greeted as a Muslim? حق المسلم على المسلم خمس. If you're greeted by a Muslim, he tells you salam alaikum, it's wajib, fard, obligation, obligatory for you to say wa alaikum salam. You have to, bare minimum. You tell someone salam alaikum, he goes, hey, how are you? What are you talking about, brother? How am I? Tell me wa alaikum salam, brother. I'm a Muslim, brother. Speak like a Muslim, brother. The good Muslim, he says wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is, bro, wallahi, the way you talk to someone, it changes the whole outcome of the talk. The whole talk is straight, the whole scenario of the talk, the whole psychology of the talk is changed. Someone feels so comfortable speaking to you. You come to someone, you say salam alaikum, bro, you say wa alaikum salam, bro, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. It changes the whole atmosphere. The whole atmosphere is changed in 1 second. Islam is amazing. Islam is holistic. Islam comes with wisdom. Islam comes with wisdom. If someone says something nice to you, reciprocate niceness. Bare minimum, reciprocate niceness, or give something much better. Like we said, this is Islamic. You want to be from those who says one word that he doesn't take account of it. He goes on, he moves on with his day, he buys a coffee and he moves on with life. He doesn't even think about what he said, and that word that he said is raising him in ranks. Not the person who's that word that he said is taken into the pitfalls of Jahannam. But be careful with what you say. And to tell you all something, everyone is going through something different. You have a bad day, he has a bad day, my grandma has a bad day, I didn't get sleep, he didn't have a nap, I have a headache. Everyone is going through something. Sometimes you say something, it can uplift someone's spirit to the point where he wanted to commit suicide right before he saw. I'm not joking, by the way. I'm so serious, wallahi. People are going through stuff, man. People are depressed, anxiety, depression everywhere, all over the world. You look at someone, you smile, you say thank you for the coffee. Like you're working at Dunkin' Donuts, someone says thank you to him. Everyone says, where's my coffee? I've been waiting 5 minutes. You go say a nice thing to someone, it uplifts his spirit. You could be the reason for him not killing himself. And then you get a lot of reward for the thing you don't even know. So we learn from the adab of the prophets and messengers. Yaqub alayhi salam, he responds to his son that called out to him beautifully with a beautiful response as well. He goes, oh my dear son, don't tell you the story of your dream to your brothers, فَيَكِيدُ لَكَ كَيْدًا, lest they plot against you. Lest they plot against you, right? Indeed, the shaitan is a sworn enemy to humankind, right? Yaqub alayhi salam, he does something phenomenal here. He does something phenomenal. He gives advice to his son not to tell his brothers about a dream. And then he attributes the badness. He does something amazing. Then after that, he attributes the badness, the shar, to shaitan, not to his brothers. After he tells them, don't talk to your brothers, don't tell your brothers anything, he doesn't say your brothers are evil. He doesn't say they're going to plot to kill you. He doesn't say they're going to kidnap you and throw you in a well. He doesn't say any of that. He says perhaps they may plot against you because he knows the nature of his sons better than who is more adrad by his kids. He knows that they're envious. He knows that they have envy. So he warns his son Yousuf, who's beloved to him, about that envy in a subtle way. He says, don't tell them perhaps they may plot against you, because sometimes the child is naive and innocent. Sometimes you have to tell the child something in a nice way, with hikmah. Like someone, he makes a mistake in salah. And then you go and you berate him after the salah. You know what berating means? Brother, relax. Leave the guy alone. Let him breathe. Let him go on with his day. Let him go to school. Let him go to sleep. Let him wake up. Go to sleep and wake up. Go to sleep and wake up. 3 days go down. Then you see the brother. He's talking to you. You say, oh, by the way, you let salah the other day. You made this mistake. This is wisdom, brother. You want to know how to get someone tight and defensive immediately, like a super cheat code to get someone tight and defensive? Go up to someone after Salah and say, why'd you do this, why'd you do that? Brother, leave me alone, man. You make me not want to pray Salah ever. You make me, I don't want to pray Salah anymore. So, 20 laws. There was a brother from Patterson. I went to get a haircut. This is like 7-8 years ago, this story. Wallahi, true story. I was in Egypt, coming back and forth from Egypt and studying. I went to my barber. Barbershop is where all the fun in the world happens. Men, we have a free therapy session every 2 weeks, or every week, or every month, depending on how much you go to the barber. If you want a good therapist, you go to the barber. Everyone's talking about their clutter. You hear clutter, it makes you feel better about your clutter, because your clutter's not about your clutter's not as bad as their clutter. Everyone's going through something in the barber, he hears all. He should get paid extra for therapy sessions, wallahi. So I was in the barbershop one time, and this brother was happy to see me. I go up with him, and he goes, oh, mashallah, this, that, you're in Egypt? I was like, yeah. And he goes, oh, I don't go to the masjid, I hate the masjid. I said, whoa, relax. What happened? Like, why? He goes, man, I went to the masjid. He goes, I went to the masjid. It's down the street from the barbershop. I'm not going to mention the name of the masjid. Named after the companion of the Prophet. That was a very first companion. He went to the masjid, and there's a gang there that sit on chairs. They're old man gang. So they're not the most welcoming bunch. But this is not specific to that masjid, my brothers. This is in a lot of masjids. How many times uncles yell at kids, and that turns the kid off from the masjid? This is something very important. Or how many times the uncle yells at someone for something? Like, for example, in Bengali culture, not to specify Bengalis, but in Bengali culture and in Pakistani culture, in the Desi community, wearing the topi, the kufi, is a very big thing. You can't pray salah without your hijab. This is the hijab of the man. I'm just joking, but like, this is a big deal. So maybe the uncle, he's born and raised in that environment, he sees it not befitting for someone to pray with his head makshuf. He sees it not befitting for an individual to pray with his head uncovered. So he'll go and he'll shun the kid. And the kid will hate the masjid forever till Yawm al-Qiyamah, because he feels so embarrassed from the uncle. The uncle doesn't understand. The uncle loves the kid. He doesn't understand. So the uncle's in that masjid that this brother went to, he said, I went in with basketball shorts. Just as a disclaimer to all of you, basketball shorts today are pretty long. It's not like the 1970s when my grandfather's pictures in the basketball shorts back then. The basketball shorts today, they are kind of long. The new hip thing today is the gangster shorts, they're long. So even if it's not covering completely the awrah, if there's a young kid coming to the masjid, you don't shun him. Let him pray. Let the convert come with his tattoos and his earrings and his necklace. Let him come in and pray with his gold necklace. He's a convert, brother. He just became Muslim 4 days ago. He's been wearing gold for 47 years. Let him come with his necklace, brother. Let him pray with his necklace. The salah counts or doesn't count. It's up to Allah. It's not up to you, brother. Leave the convert guy alone. Have some wisdom in your life. You go after you finish salah and you're eager because you're Saint Mark and you're so pious. And you go and you tell him, why you come with this, brother, this, that. Brother, the guy wants to throw up. He doesn't want to come to the masjid again. You leave a bad taste in someone's mouth. You want to leave a good taste in someone's mouth. What happened was this guy, he went to go pray Salat al-Asr, he told me, wearing basketball shorts. Why? Perhaps because he just finished playing basketball, and perhaps this was his opportunity of getting close to Allah, right? This was the opportunity of starting a new chapter with Allah. And the uncle yelled at him, and he said, you can't enter the masjid with shorts on, get out. He said, Wallahi, he kicked me out of the masjid, and he embarrassed me in front of everyone. He said, I was so embarrassed. And he said, I'll never go back to the masjid ever again. I hate the masajid. I said, astaghfirullah, brother, the masjid is beautiful, brother. Come on, relax, brother. The masjid is beautiful. I told him, bro, you shouldn't have wore shorts, man. I was telling him, I understand, like, but there's a certain etiquette to the mosque. I said, the uncle was wrong in how he yelled at you 100%. I'm really sorry for that. Like, I'm sorry, I know you're hurting, bro. I'm sorry. Like, I'm really sorry, I understand that you're hurt. He was wrong in how he yelled at you. He should not have yelled at you. There's a way you talk to people, of course. And he feels like he's holy, the uncle probably, yeah. So I said, that's not nice. It's not nice to be judged. I understand that. But wallahi, you go to the masjid ultimately for Allah and the pleasure of Allah, not for Uncle St. Mark. I'm joking, not for Uncle Abu Muhammad, not for Uncle Abu whoever. You don't go to the masjid for people. And we talked about this in the Monday night class on Tazkiyah and Ikhlas. We went in on detail on seeking the pleasure of people. You will never ever be pleased. So also, if someone is mad at you and you get hurt from their mad, you're going to be disappointed all the time. The mu'min doesn't care about people. But the mu'min is also someone who's qabil. He's able, he's capable of taking advice. The mu'min is able to receive constructive criticism. You have to be able to receive criticism. If you can't, this is a big problem in your iman. You have to be able to accept criticism. You have to. Of course, the person giving advice should say it in a nice way. So I told my friend that day, I was like, bro, relax, it's all good. Go to the masjid. The masjid is the house of Allah. It's not his house or his uncle's house or his grandfather's house or his son's house. It's the house of Allah. You go back to the masjid. But also, it's not good to wear shorts in the masjid. I understand, like, if your knees are covered, your salah counts, that's fine. But it's not of etiquette to go to the masjid dressed in shorts, because it's of etiquette to go to the courthouse when you go talk to the judge in America to dress decently, right? Now we live in a time of fawda. Of course, everyone dresses and whatever. But when you go to court, or when you go to an inauguration ceremony, or anything with anybody big, when you go visit Joe Biden or Donald Trump, you dress up nice because he's a big dignitary. So you meet Allah in the masjid. You're going to talk to Allah in the masjid. You go dressed nice. Bare minimum, you wear pants. So we learned that the way you speak to someone has a big impact on them. It could bring them close to Islam, or it could ruin them. We say having hikmah in the way you talk is the number one mechanism that opens people's hearts to Islam. People, they become Muslim through etiquette and morals and good akhlaq, not from da'wah and YouTube 4-hour videos on refutations. Absolutely not. Of course, there's aspects and there's people that have to be good in debating. To respond to doubts, no problem. There has to be someone strong and well-versed in Islam to respond to a Christian doubt or a Jewish doubt or an atheistic doubt. There's no problem with that. But akhlaq, good mannerisms, and etiquette is what opens and unlocks people's heart to Iman and Islam. Because the entire country of Indonesia, with 160 million people in it, I don't know now, it's 2024, maybe there's 180 million people in it, the largest Muslim country in the world that's not an Arab country, it's Indonesia. How did they enter Islam? What war opened Indonesia? What battle? The battle of what, Jakarta? Or the battle of Java? Because Jakarta is found on the largest island in Indonesia called Java, right? No, brother. The Yemeni traders that were chewing khat, you know khat? The Yemeni traders that were dressed in their Yemeni clothes with their daggers, they went to Yemen and they were honorable men of God that followed the Shafi'i madhab in fiqh and the Bai'ali tariqah in tasawwuf. They were people of God in suluk and adab. They had husnul khuluq. They went from Hadramaut, Yemen, because they were from Hadramaut. Hadramaut is the eastern province. They went from Hadramaut, Yemen, the mountains of Tarim, and they went where? They went to Indonesia to trade spices and stuff. And the people of Indonesia all became Muslim. Why? Because they were confused. They said, who are these people? What do they believe in? What is their religion? I want to be like him. Like he mentions to me after the transaction that there was something missing. It's abnormal. Only Islam does this. So having good etiquette and the way you speak to people is very important. We'll finish off this ayah. He said, oh my dear son, do not tell your brothers about your dream. We learned from this Quranic observation that it's not wrong to warn your children about someone if you think that they would be bad for them. It's not wrong. This is not considered backbiting. The Muslim has a brain. What is backbiting about this? In a nice, gentle way, if you have that aunt or that uncle that has hasad and envy because you're the father, you understand. You tell your son, you don't have to tell him all the details about your school grades. Do you understand? Do you understand? We could have silat al-rahim. We could maintain family bonds and ties without telling everyone every detail of your life. You don't have to tell him, oh, I got a 95 in my AP English test. You don't have to tell him that. You don't have to tell him that. You don't have to say, oh, this, that. You don't have to tell intimate details to someone who's envious. And signs of envy are apparent to the father who has wisdom and he's been alive for 40 years. So he says, don't tell your brothers. And you tell the same thing to your brother, or you tell the same thing to your son or to your daughter. You don't have to tell auntie so-and-so all of this stuff. Just keep it to yourself. And we're still good to everyone. We're still happy and we still embrace our family and we will maintain family bonds. He goes, فَيَكِيدُ لَكَ كَيْدًا. Perhaps they may plot against you. The wise father knows about his sons. إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لِلْإِنسَانِ عَدُوٌ مُبِينٌ. Indeed, Satan, shaitan, to the human is an everlasting enemy, is a strong and clear enemy. Yaqub alayhi salam, he ends off his advice to his beautiful son. His advice was about 7 words, small, by saying, indeed, shaitan is a sworn clear enemy to the human. He doesn't say, indeed, your brothers are evil. Your brothers they're all evil. He doesn't say that. He attributes the evil to shaitan. The same exact way Musa alayhi salam kills someone by accident. فَوَكَزَهُ مُوسَى فَقَضَى عَلَيْهِ قَالَ هَذَا مِنْ عَمَلُ الشَّيْطَانِ إِنَّهُ عَدُوٌ مُضِلٌ مُبِينٌ. He goes, إِنَّهُ عَدُوٌ مُضِلٌ مُبِينٌ. Musa alayhi salam is a prophet and messenger of God. He kills someone by accident. He accidentally hits someone so hard that he dies. And what does he say? He goes, indeed, this is from shaitan. What I did, my anger, was from shaitan. The anger that overcame me, that made me hit him so hard that I killed him. هذا من عمل الشيطان إنه عدو مضل مبين. Indeed, shaitan is an enemy, and he's mudil. He misguides. He makes you trip and go down footsteps, and he's a clear sworn enemy. So we end with this ayah. In this class, we spoke about 2 ayahs. The plan was to talk about 4 ayahs. Inshallah, we'll continue from here next week. Inshallah, it's beautiful. We take time with the Quran. It's beautiful. We can receive observations and lessons and meanings. Inshallah, we all benefit from the blessings of the Quran and the blessings of Surah Yousuf. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those who take heed from our remembrance and those who are granted wisdom and openings with the Quran. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be with our brothers and sisters in Gaza and to grant them aid over their oppressors and to destroy their oppressors. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be with our brothers and sisters in Lebanon and Syria and Iraq and all throughout the Muslim world, and to grant them victory over their oppressors. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. We continue next week, Wednesday after Salat al-Isha. Check the ICPC app to see when Isha begins next week with Surah Yousuf. And now we have the books today for everyone that wants to buy the book. We said the book was a $15 donation to the masjid. The book that we picked, we said, was this book written in English recently, which is a very beautiful book. The two authors we talked about, Muhammad al-Shinawi and Rania Abu Saneh, they both wrote a couple of observations for each ayah. So a nice way of saying that it's a tafsir of Surah Yousuf basically. They go through every ayah and they take 3 to 4